to the Retrogrades Talking Show. I almost called it the old title.
Ooh.
I'm your host, Cormac, and with me I have my lovely co-host,
Adam.
And
we have two
new guests.
Two new guests.
I'm gonna make Lucy introduce herself first.
Hello. Wait, am I
Yeah.
to look in the camera?
If you can.
Okay.
If it feels intimidating to address
Look
the
at them.
unwashed
Hello,
masses.
audience.
Look at their silly faces.
I am Lucy. Do I need to say more than that?
No.
What would
Cool.
you like? Would you like to
Do
say anything
you
else?
what's like your subtitle?
My subtitle, very cool person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tara.
Okay.
I'm Tara. My subtitle is I'm confused and anxious often.
Okay.
Come on.
All right.
Solid. Welcome.
Thank you. I feel
back.
very welcomed.
How does it feel?
It feels
To be. I mean, this hat is making life a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good hat.
It is a good
Yes.
hat.
Have you ever been on a podcast before, either of you?
No, I
No.
actually haven't.
Cool. I can't wait for the day when you actually are. Not today.
Yeah, this isn't a podcast. It's a talking show.
Yeah.
When
It
did
is a
that
talking show.
change?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, that changed as of the previous episode.
I only caught the back half of that.
Yeah.
I arrived with an outrageous
Well,
bar.
see, that one has not aired yet, and as your super fan, I've watched almost every episode, and I'm familiar with the podcast format.
I have watched none. I'm very sorry.
You're
okay.
fine. You're not missing much.
I,
Yeah.
to be fair, I asked you to send me the link to them, and you never have, and I don't know how to find it.
It's just Google the name.
Okay.
Well,
Retrogrades.
The
If you go to
other thing-
Retrogrades and then search channels, we're like the 7th one.
yeah. Well, when I'm doing design stuff, I like to have noise in the background, and it can't always be music because it fades too far in the background. So, like, friends' voices is a nice grounding thing while I'm drawing. So,
That's valid.
See, I like podcasts in theory, but every time I try to listen to them, I get distracted, and then I tune back in 40 minutes later, and I don't know what we're talking about or why it's funny.
well, that's why it's good to do when you're doing something with your hands. Like if I'm knitting or if I'm drawing or something, it's like my brain is listening while my hand is doing.
Did you bring our hat?
I did bring our hat. We're doing a joint hat, knitting back and forth. It's a good project.
She's purple, I think.
No, she's
she's
blue. She's blue. Well, no, she's like a blue-green with the little specks of color. It's a good hat.
It's a good hat.
You guys hijacked that so quickly. I'm almost impressed.
This is what happens when you let women into the room.
Yes, women
God
invade
damn
and take over and ruin
We're
everything.
an invasive species.
Okay, we're an invasive species with boobs.
Enough said.
Enough said. All right,
Yeah.
I think we don't need the hat for the rest of the. I just wanted it for the intro. I do love the hat. You want the hat?
Patrice.
It's gonna be too big for Patrice's little head.
That's true. Yeah.
Look at his
Patrice's-
tiny. Look, it's the size of a grapefruit.
Well,
I have a grapefruit over there for
That's
comparison.
super cool.
I
Wow.
learned today that grapefruit is apparently, this is an important disclaimer for anyone on birth control who listens to this, which is probably no one. I imagine you don't have a very high female listening
I'm
percentage.
Let alone
it would be
listening.
Lucy.
lesbian. Let's go.
Yeah.
Lesbian.
No.
But grapefruit can interfere with contraceptives, so be careful.
Why?
I don't know.
Damn, what an evil fruit.
It's my favorite.
The fruit
It-
of baby
It
making.
is also the fruit that looks the most vaginal, so
That's true.
it makes sense.
Okay, yeah. Yeah. Valid.
Wow, guys.
I started eating grapefruit again because of Requiem for a Dream.
When did you
I don't-
When did you rewatch it?
No, when I was like 16.
When did you stop eating grapefruit? I guess is the more important question. I guess I've got the timeline mixed up.
I tried grapefruit when I was like 8. I didn't like it, and then I watched Requiem for a Dream, and the mom gets a really horrible deal in that movie, and she goes on the grapefruit diet, and all she eats is grapefruit with a little bit of sugar on top, and I thought it looked really yummy, so I decided to buy a grapefruit, and now it's my favorite fruit.
Nice, nice.
Thanks, cool heroin movie.
Yeah, I still haven't seen that
That's the
one.
sad heroin movie.
Yes.
Trainspotting
Trainspotting
is
is
the
the
fun
fun heroin
heroin
movie.
movie.
Yeah.
Ah, I was about to say,
Trainspotting.
what's the fun heroin movie?
Yeah,
Trainspotting.
Trainspotting.
Okay.
That movie's fucking crazy.
Trainspotting is. You know what? Fuck you, Darren Aronofsky. Trainspotting is way better than Requiem for a Dream. I can speak English.
It is. It also doesn't
Requiem.
have Jared Leto, which is a welcome addition.
Yeah, you got Obi in there instead. Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
That was his first big role.
Probably.
No,
yeah.
it was Ewan McGregor.
Ah.
He's so good, man.
My mom loves Ewan McGregor.
I love Ewan McGregor.
Who doesn't?
Right.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead does.
True.
Oh!
Ramona Flowers.
Yes, fuck. His
Obi-Wan
wife.
Kenobi and Ramona Flowers are together, which I think is very funny.
Yeah.
Paul Thomas Anderson and Maya Rudolph are together. 20 years, 3 kids.
Which I think is so fucking strange.
That is
Such a strange
solid.
parent. Like, I'm so happy
She's
for them,
in
but
Licorice
like,
Pizza.
yes, I saw her in the
Oh,
trailer.
nice. Nice.
Which I remember I saw her in the trailer for Licorice Pizza and I laughed because I was like, what the fuck is Maya Rudolph doing in a Paul Thomas Anderson movie? And you texted me like 2.5 weeks later and you were like, Maya Rudolph and Paul Thomas Anderson are like together and have children. And I was like,
Yeah.
it somehow makes more sense and less sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it makes more sense as to why she's in the movie. Their relationship, I find, like, how did they meet?
Yeah.
SNL Orwell touring for...
Wait, what? In what capacity was Paul Thomas Anderson anywhere near SNL?
I don't know. I don't know. Or there was something about a press junket for a movie that he put out, but I can't remember which one it was.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't know which of his movies came out 20 years ago.
Well, let's see. That would be Magnolia, right?
I think it was for Magnolia, which I still want to watch. I tried
Me too.
watching...
A lot of people yell in that movie, and it's really funny.
Well, so that's a
I
movie...
feel like I'm getting away from the camera.
It's a
trying to hide
movie
from it.
with great pacing, and I'll get off movies real quick. I'm sorry.
No,
I know
it's okay.
not
I
quite,
just don't have much to
quite your
contribute.
thing.
That's okay.
I tried watching Magnolia once, well, very high, and I ended up turning it off because it's not a movie that you watch high. Way too much is going on. But I remember watching it, being like, "Damn, I only made it through like 20 minutes of it." I watched like a full like hour and 45, and I had no idea.
Uh-huh.
And it's not that I fell asleep; it just kept moving.
Yeah.
Aw, hey, big man.
Cut.
Yo, Bigman. I love
Hey,
this
Bigman.
guy. Yo, this guy, I love him. Yeah.
Come on. Well, I'm ignoring him.
We have a bit of a spectator behind the camera. We got Dylan over there.
When is he not here?
Yeah.
Always present.
Birthday
Yeah.
boy.
Birthday
boy.
boy.
It is in fact Dylan's 21st
He's drinking.
birthday
He's
today.
drinking Bacardi behind the camera legally.
Yo.
Let's go.
And I'm drinking whiskey in front of the camera, also legally.
Wait, can we talk about video games? I want to talk about video games.
Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, I've been playing Super Mario Odyssey recently because it came out like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Did it really?
Yeah.
How old is the Switch?
Like 4 years?
It came out on March 3rd, 2017. And Mario Odyssey, it came out, I think, October or November of that year.
A post-Trump world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! The world's
What?
first post-Trump Mario game.
Jesus Christ. It's really good. I hot take. It's just.
Are you gonna say it's better than Galaxy?
Oh no! I was just saying hot take. It's really good.
Oh, I don't think it's a hot take.
No, I know it's not.
yeah.
No, I know it's not.
Sorry,
People love that game.
your sarcasm went
Yeah.
right over
It's.
my head.
I mean, like, I've never played like a 3D Mario game like one of the exploration like collectathon types.
Yeah.
Do
but
they
now-
not count Galaxy in that?
Galaxy is a linear game for sure.
Yeah.
You get the shine at the end of the level.
That's fair.
Or it's a shine, whatever.
Yeah, you defeat a level and you go back to the
Yeah.
beginning, so it's not.
It is
it's
3D,
not-
but like it's more like 3D world in that
awesome.
sense.
So you're thinking of like Sunshine. And
Yeah, Sunshine and
You never
64.
played Sunshine?
Never played Sunshine. Never played 64.
Okay.
I really want to now.
Sunshine's really good.
Yeah, I want to play both of those games so bad. Oh my god. Cause people talk about like the way that you move as Mario all the time, like in all of his games, and like I
It really
agree.
makes
Like
you feel like an Italian plumber.
yeah, from Brooklyn.
Is Mario from Brooklyn?
I don't fucking know.
No,
maybe.
wait.
He
He's
is
from-
in the movie.
No,
Yeah.
he's from New Dong, York. Wait, New Dong City.
New Dong, York.
I mean, I don't think he's necessarily from there. I mean,
Nobody fucking knows where any of them are from.
I just
They're not
real-
people, they're cryptids.
Yeah, I just realized that like
The
there's
Mario
like
lore
normal
is
people in New Dong
scarce.
City, and then there's Pauline.
And then Mario.
Well, yeah, Mario arrives, but like Pauline's like the fucking mayor, and no one bats an eye. Straight up, Pauline looks a lot like Lisa
It
from
is
JoJo.
really weird how in Mario Odyssey they, in canon, create essentially 2 species of human.
Yeah,
Like stylistically.
I don't understand how the hats have thoughts.
it's like a ghost. It's a hat ghost.
Yeah,
They're possessed?
Ren.
Are they imbued?
Yeah,
Are
so
they
Mario's
like
hat is
living
possessed.
beings?
By a hat ghost. It's
Can
a hat
they
ghost.
So-
can they reproduce?
I'm not gonna lie.
I don't want to know.
My
Stop.
sister
I think
was
there's
also
I think
getting.
another hat has to die.
What?
But then how does the hat come alive?
I don't
real
know.
quick, my sister was getting real hung up on that hat ghost thing as well, and my answer to it was it's a fucking Mario game.
Yeah.
No, I understand.
Like
that.
I know you want to understand the mechanics a little more, but like
There's
Nintendo
also, like-
literally cares
like-
a lot less than you do.
I don't understand. Where did the idea to make the hat sentient even come? Like, why
Well-
is that a part of the thing?
Because you can
I think the
possess stuff.
gameplay. I think
Let
the
me-
gameplay
But
probably.
why is
came
it
first.
hats?
Well, okay, but
Because
why-
it's like, I think it's a cute idea where it's the idea of possession. So it's a hat ghost, and you throw your hat on top of stuff to possess it. I'm struggling today.
It's okay.
But
Why are the enemies in the
I-
first game literally like shiitake mushrooms?
No, but I can say, like, if we
What?
think about, like, the...
And then turtles.
The
Sorry.
way the Mario games go is,
And
like...
a dragon
what
turtle.
are Mario's...
Those are all things that are alive. A turtle is alive. A mushroom is
right.
alive. A hat is a hat.
But here's the thing. We're thinking about Mario's character trait. One of his defining characteristics as a character
Is his hat.
visually is his hat. So,
I wouldn't
if you...
agree with that.
You're
Well, He's got
wrong.
mustache and hat. Like,
I would say mustache or overalls.
Mustache over
overall
and hat.
Yeah.
The
And so-
the hat with the big red M on the top.
But the hat
Mario,
doesn't feel
Mario.
like the most important part of the thing.
Well, it's not the most important part, but it is the most throwable part. So let's put ourselves in Nintendo games.
I don't
Wait,
know.
can I
wear a lot of
Can I
overalls.
posit? Wait, can I posit something? A short Italian dude in overalls and a mustache without the hat is just a short Italian dude in overalls with a mustache.
That's just
He
a
is
plum-
Mario because of the hat. Not because of, like all parts, some of all the parts, whatever.
All the pieces
Are you
together.
saying
All the
that
pieces
if
come
you-
together, but
if
I
you
think the
saw
hat is way
an
more important than the
Italian man
overalls.
with a mustache and a plunger. Wait, why is it not a plunger? You can throw a plunger.
Luigi has a plunger. well, like Mario's not gonna carry a plunger around. That's a bit weird.
The real answer is that they needed a basic
I'm just-
character floating player 2 thing so that when, let's say, your younger brother is very good at video games and you are not, and you want to play Mario Odyssey and you want to help, but you can't actually help.
Hypothetically speaking.
Hypothetically speaking,
Hypothetically.
not from experience.
This is
you
nothing
float
I can
around
relate to.
as a little hat and hit the enemies while your brother does all the cool flipping stuff because you're scared of game controls.
I guess I don't understand why the hat is the thing that makes Mario. Like, if you saw an Italian man with a mustache, a plunger, and a hat, would he immediately be Mario on the street? No. It doesn't make sense. It's just because they put an M on the hat.
I mean, if he had like a water pump on his back.
I just like find it
That'd be
so
different.
strange that this is the thing that you're getting really hung up on.
I can't make the rest.
Like, why did they come up with this cute hat mechanic that makes the game really dynamic and interesting?
Okay, well, because I don't know anything about video games, nor have I played this video game.
That's fair.
To
Then
me,
why are you arguing with me about the hat?
Because I'm trying to find something to connect to, and I'm confused because I can't understand the rest of the Taken storyline that is in this thing until I understand the hat.
Well, so
I don't
think-
understand why the hat is significant, and I don't understand why you can become a dinosaur.
I understand your confusion. I mean, here's what I think about it. I mean, like, I don't think Nintendo actually cares about the story of Mario. I don't think anyone does.
I do. I am
It's-
here to
I mean, like,
advocate for
in
Mario's
reality,
life
it's pretty
story.
chauvinistic. But like,
Are you calling me a chauvinist?
no, no, no. I'm just like that. Like,
Are
just
you
like
No, you're just
having to.
appreciating chauvinistic material.
And that's okay because I mean, like, you know, what's kind of takes precedent is the gameplay. That's what is always thought about, like, with most Nintendo games, like, first and foremost, which, I mean, a surprising amount of games don't take that into account first. Weird. But, like, I think they really wanted the mechanic of, like, oh, wait, what if you were the guy? What if you were, like, the
enemy.
And you could do, like, a funny little thing? What if you could be a tree and hop around and that's all you could do? That's hilarious. I mean, like,
I
the
just
thing
don't
is, like,
understand why the hat is the vehicle for that.
Because it's fucking cute.
Well-
Because it's cute.
well,
'Cause
it's-
it's interesting and cute.
it's cute,
like,
but,
that's
like-
literally it.
think
That's
what's
as far as
happening-
they thought
Okay,
in the boardroom when they were coming up with the game. They, like, one of the guys came in and they were like, oh, I had this idea. Like, what if Mario took off his hat and, like, threw it at stuff and the hat landed on other stuff? Mario, like, became the thing the hat landed on. And one of the, like, no, I can literally, no one in the boardroom asked why. They all went, cool. And then they just started making the game.
Well, I
Yeah.
None of them
other
questioned
thing-
it.
That is a perfectly fine explanation for me.
Yeah.
We're
Welcome
all good.
to the thought process for a lot of, all Mario, I would assume.
I appreciate storytelling. I didn't understand the
I was
storytelling.
You would
say,
like
I
Zelda.
think-
You would like Zelda a
I like
lot.
Breath of the Wild, so that makes sense.
I also
like my
like if
local
you have a
indie.
storytelling oriented brain, Mario games aren't for you. I often find them boring because I can't get into gameplay mechanics. I personally don't like the playing part of video games as much as I like that I am involved in the storytelling.
You like
That's
you
what
like
I like.
interactive
Yeah.
like movies.
I do. I like interactive. I like Breath of the Wild. I like Skyrim.
We should go to some fun Fringe theater soon.
Oh, I'd love to.
Sorry, not
Yes.
to hard segue.
No,
I was
that's
thinking
But
of interactive
I mean, hard
theater.
segue. Theater.
Theater, right?
Yeah.
Am I
I'm just
right?
remembering
kids?
there was this really cool one that a kid in my class went to 2 years ago, and I wish I had gotten the chance. It was a one-on-one theatrical experience. There was no one else.
Oh no,
They-
I don't like that.
No. Here's how you would like this. Though.
Okay,
I think you would
okay,
actually
all
really
right.
like it.
Ew. They act with me, only
No,
me in the room.
No. You're not understanding. You're talking too fast. You're getting ahead of yourself.
Yeah, she
it's
hasn't
Fringe
explained
theater.
everything.
It is outside of anything that you
That's
know.
true. That's true.
They gave
This
you.
is some Lovecraftian fucking theater. Your
They
mind
gave
can't
you-
comprehend it.
No, they gave you an address. You went to the address. It was just you. You got into a car that was in a parking lot. And so there were things that were pre-placed in the car. So you got like the phone started ringing and you had to pick it up and you'd talk to them and you'd be talking to an actor and they started telling you the story. It was like an interactive mystery.
So it's like
and
an
so you were
escape
finding
room, but like in the city.
but you're not escaping anything, you're just looking at
Right,
the
but
clues
like
in the
the
car.
idea of almost puzzle solving.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard of this.
And you had the option to like not answer the phone. And then you'd just be sitting in the car and that's what you paid for. But it was like really cool. Like you could I don't know. Like that's a really like
Okay,
fully immersive
I would be kind of into that
situation
actually.
and you never interacted face to face with anyone. So it's
Oh,
not
I
like
like
people
that.
were acting at you. Like I don't like being called out. I think that audience participation should be eliminated
Oh,
from most forms of
I hate
theater.
it. For some reason, when I was a child and I'd go to
I
see
disagree
the
so
art and
hard.
children's shows, I was always the little cute blonde kid they'd make interact with actors, and I hated it.
See, I grew up right around from People's Light, and that's when they did the Pantos, and they did the same thing, and they pulled me up on stage once, and I was like, I will do it of my own
show. I had to
volition.
interact twice, and because I was a kid, I didn't know how to say no. I didn't be like, no, I don't want to. I just would do it.
Yeah.
We
And like
should
it'd be
teach-
kind of fun, but like also it'd be like I'd rather be in my seat right now.
Yeah.
I can't remember a time I ever got fucked with in a theater, although I remember
You've walked in on plenty of people fucking in a theater.
I have walked in on many a people trying to get it on in an auditorium, but
Which, not
no,
a
no,
sexy
I mean like
place. Not a sexy
no,
place.
not at all. But
Those horny theater kids.
I took
I
a
know.
shower after a dress rehearsal once and a beetle fell out of my hair. And it was because the theater was gross and I had to lay on the floor.
Don't like that.
I remember our school. We always thought it was the funniest thing to try and come up with reasons to send actors into the seats and like interact with the audience because it was always like, you know, the only people who would come to see our shows were like the parents of the kids who were in it. So it's all these like upper middle class suburban parents, and we were like, send them into the seats, fuck with them, you know,
Yeah.
like what are they gonna do?
Your May play, right?
Yeah.
They pulled someone up on. Oh, were you gonna talk about when you were in? I was talking about when we went to go see it.
Oh yeah, they did. They
I didn't know
pulled
who that
they pulled someone up on stage for that, and that was funny. No, but like we used to just. I remember when we did our cabaret that was like supposed to be Sweeney Todd.
How do you do a cabaret that's supposed to be?
We didn't
a
get the
narrative
we didn't get the
play?
rights. We didn't get the rights, so it was a cabaret that was like 65% scenes from Sweeney Todd, and then like
Nice.
the rest of it was just assorted random musicals scenes that they wanted to do. But I remember for is it City on Fire? What's the one song where it's like
City on Fire is the like the wife of Sweeney who's lost her mind is like singing about how like
and like she's with all the other
doing
crazy homeless people.
doing the like the deep dark prophecy like all bad and you're
Yeah.
like oh
Yes.
and then
in that scene for
And then
our
he-
version, we had a bunch of people dressed up in like raggedy like asylum people clothing, like because she's.
look at these crazy mentally ill people.
Well, no, but we had them running up and down. No, it was awesome. We just had a bunch of kids. Like our director was literally like act like a fucking nutcase and just run up the aisles, just like scream in parents'
I've
faces.
always said the best part about being on stage, like, cause like I did a show my senior year called Odyssey, and I had to scream at it and
you
just
did Eurydice?
I was Odyssey.
Oh my god,
Yo.
we did Eurydice too in high school.
I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it was a fun
I got to talk to
We
some
did
rocks.
Antigone.
What a weird show to do in high school.
Yeah.
It was really dark.
Yeah,
It's
weird
super
show to.
dark.
I
Like
mean,
it opens with what's the fratricide?
yeah, that's to kill
to kill your brother.
Brothers.
Yeah, because
Brothers.
Double fratricide.
it comes from the Latin word frater, which means brother.
Frater.
We did not do Rent. We had a school
someone
come
else
in.
did Rent,
We had a school come
which
in
was
for
weird.
cappies.
Rent is a
We did
weird
Rent
thing to
too.
do for
You
a
didn't
high
know.
school.
Yeah.
Yours did Rent? Well, I can bleep that out. But like,
Yeah.
We should pick a fun.
Why
sound.
is that particularly weird?
I just have a hard time believing that like any high school would do the rock opera about AIDS.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, also the other thing about Rent, because my theater program was junior and a little bit pretentious sometimes. We thought about doing Rent, and our choir teacher, who I love, was basically like, "You guys do not have men that can sing these voice parts because they like teenage boys cannot sing this.
They
They will
are
destroy their vocal cords.
Intense, some of them,
They're
especially
intense, and they're for mature voices. Like men have to be a certain age to sing that part.
There's one the guy who is then in fucking The Flash.
Yeah. Joe West.
Yeah, like
Is,
one of the only people who actually. Of course they had to. Okay, I know you think Angel's the only good character. I would argue that whoever that guy's character's name is, whose name I forget,
Yeah, the person who's closest with Angel.
is awesome. And the scene where he cries at her funeral.
Yeah,
is
the eulogy, the speech that he
Yeah.
gives, and that's
great.
like the whole song.
But then
It's
they
great.
turned the whole thing into something about themselves because of course they did.
Yeah, I think I.
But his voice part is really low. That's what I was trying to say.
I think I was quoted on this podcast once, this talking show, as once saying, I think that Rent is a completely morally bankrupt show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember this vaguely.
Yeah.
Because, to be fair,
Yeah.
as much as I love Angel did kill a dog. And we kind of all forget that.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Angel's introduction song is her singing about how someone paid her to kill a yapping dog out the window. So she played the drums until the dog jumped to its death.
Angel snatched the dog into red mist on the fucking sidewalk. It's terrible.
I get, like, the music is okay, some of it. I find a lot of it really annoying, if I'm being honest. It's just very, like...
I like Out Tonight. I like the stripper song. That's fun.
Fun songs in Rent.
Seasons of Love.
Seasons of Love
I
never
I
needs to be
hate that
performed
song.
Yeah.
ever again.
Yeah,
we
Seasons
sang
of
that at my
Love.
graduation.
They-
When I graduated,
Elementary
I had
school
to
graduation we did.
elementary school.
Yeah. We sang Seasons of Love.
Rent's
for
in some
reason.
pretty weird fucking places.
I don't think
We
I mean
didn't,
I don't
like,
think it
watch
should be
Rent or
performed in
anything.
high school because of like the stripper stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Like it's a weirdly sexual show to do in high
I
school.
mean, they do Rock of Ages in high school, and still.
I mean, the issue is, I think, high
Again,
schoolers.
maybe we just don't do shows that sexual. My senior year, it makes no sense. Sorry,
No,
I
no,
cut
go
you
ahead,
off.
go ahead.
It makes no sense to me. The high school did Seussical, and the middle school did Grease, which has teenage pregnancy in it.
Well,
Why?
That middle school inexcusable. I feel like a lot of times with high schools,
Why
though,
not switch?
especially if you give the students any control over the plays they want to do, high schoolers want to do sexual shows.
They
For
do.
sure.
They're all horny.
We had
did.
a lot of people who really wanted to try and get Spring Awakening to happen, which is really
Yeah.
funny because, like, not only would our school wouldn't do Rent. They wouldn't touch Rent with a 50-foot pole. And they were like, Spring
be
Awakening,
fair-
that'll go over well.
Rent.
It didn't.
Rent also has a lot of gays.
Spring
More
Awakening
area.
has more, like,
One
That's-
or two.
I was just gonna say just
Just
more
more sex.
blatant. It's a
Which-
show about sex.
Can I just say?
Did you see the temple?
I didn't see Temple's production. I did hear they had like 4 COVID scares because it's
Oh.
very weird for your first show back after a global pandemic to
do the
pick
one-
Spring
yeah.
Awakening,
The touchy-feely fucky
where you
show.
just have to touch everyone all the time.
I saw Temple Spring Awakening. It was good. I mean, one issue they had is they did not figure out mics and masking very well for a musical. There was
Yeah.
no diction. I could not understand a single word of the songs. And I hadn't seen Spring Awakening before or really listened to much of the music.
The plot is sex,
Oh.
abortion,
Oh,
bad, die.
Yeah, which I didn't fully understand until I was in the theater watching, and I was like, oh, I'll do like second to front row seats, and then people are humping on stage in front of me, and I was like, oh, I'm a little closer than I'd like to be for this.
I saw it.
splash sound.
Somehow hornier than Cat.
Yeah, I did not expect the weird spanking scene. I was like, why are we getting into BDSM right now? Okay.
You see, we don't kink shame on the talking show.
I'm not kink shaming. I just wasn't expecting it because I was like, oh, German children, and then they were like horny German children into BDSM. And
They're
I was like,
naughty.
okay.
Wait, what the fuck? This is like my first time hearing
Okay, they're
anything
not
about
children.
this show.
Children. They're like
They're
14.
Yeah,
15.
they're early teenagers.
They're still children.
They are
But
sexually repressed,
Yeah.
and then they have sex, and then the girl gets pregnant, and then her mom forces her to have an abortion,
And that
and
kills
she's
her.
like, it's gonna be okay, and then she dies from the abortion.
Also, I do want to say
And that's
the
it?
I don't know anything else that significantly happens in the play.
I mean the young like
Which is weird because I think she dies like,
she dies towards the end.
oh, she does die towards the end. I thought she died like a little
No,
bit
it's,
after
like,
the
second
start of
to
Act
last,
2.
It's like second to last scene.
Marty.
What the Marty do?
He better not knock our fucking light
He was
over.
batting at it.
Oh, he's a dumbass.
Aw.
Oh, I love
Big
you. I
man.
love you so much.
Dylan's getting behind the scenes footage so
Yeah,
you
he's
guys
getting
can.
Marty B-roll for
Yeah, Marty
Marty
can.
B-roll.
Marty can.
No,
You guys should just put a GoPro on Marty and see what happens.
I think he would
Then we-
rather
we'd have to-
fucking
No,
die.
Okay, you should put it on Oslo then.
Honestly.
Oslo would probably freak the fuck out and run around with it, and it would be
Yeah.
really funny.
He would
Marty
try to
would
whip
just
it
sit
off.
there and try and like nibble at the collar until it fell off.
I saw a video of a cat. Sorry, another segue. Back to video games. I saw a video of a cat wearing a GoPro, and it was like an outdoor stray cat. And he was like jumping up on like branches and stuff. It literally looked like Assassin's Creed.
Uh-huh.
It was
That's
crazy.
amazing.
But that's
Cats do be acting that way. Like they like to be out of the way. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
just fun.
I can't remember where we were going with that theater tangent though.
Oh,
I feel like I was
Horny.
careening
Oh
towards
yeah.
something.
No, but Spring Awakening, it was just like it was a weird first, like this was my first theater show watching since pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was just like it was a lot on stage. And like honestly though, like looking back on it, I think I was just surprised. I wish I had like Googled the plot beforehand because I feel like I could
Yeah.
have appreciated it more. I was just mostly like, what is happening for a second?
It is. I think it's a good story.
No,
I
it
think
is a
I
good
think
story.
it tells a really good story about like the failures of the generations before us.
Yeah.
And like
honestly,
their failures out of care, because like
right.
the parents do care, but they're just like
They've just been they
They're-
want to protect their kids from this thing, but they don't
So-
realize they want to explore that thing.
yeah.
Is
so,
Footloose just PG Spring Awakening?
No.
Sorry, I was just thinking about the parents all being like, we're gonna ban dancing because that's what's good for our kids.
Yeah.
But that was because of dying from drunk driving accident. That
Yeah.
wasn't from
Yeah.
sex. I mean, I guess they didn't want them to have sex either. Maybe there's just a bunch of plays about parents being
Yeah.
squares.
Honestly though, in Spring Awakening, the one kind of
Maybe
like
just be honest with your children.
true.
A wild thought.
Yeah, the one like
Nah.
whipping scene in Spring Awakening, while like
One whipping scene.
That's what it was. I don't know how to describe it. Like watching it for the first time, I was like, "What is happening?" But like in retrospect, it was interesting to like essentially watch two young people with no concept of language around kink realize they're doing it, and just the guilt and weird feelings they felt about that. That was
Yeah.
a really interesting concept to explore. I didn't expect.
And that's the thing, like I feel like that show when done properly could have maybe just not even that show. Maybe we just need better sex education. Marty.
Marty.
But no, I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I think there is something to say about the I don't know, just naive. We're all naive.
Yeah.
And there's something
And horny.
and
Naive and
that's
horny,
why
yes.
I also really like the did the Temple version have the addition of the sign language?
no, they didn't.
It's really cool.
That's right. I have heard about sign language. In the show.
Yeah,
What's up with that?
So Spring Awakening had a revival that was done by, I don't remember the name of the theater company, but there's a theater company that's entirely like deaf.
oh.
And so they performed it where they had actors doing the language, like you know, hearing actors who, you know, like yeah.
The spoken word aspect.
Yes, they could do the spoken word aspect, but they were shadowed by people doing sign language behind
Oh.
them from this other deaf theater company. And like, oh, I think it's called Deaf West. It's just a really cool
What's
yeah.
the what's like the visibility like for that?
What do you
is
mean?
Is it like is like what do they do to like kind of make the sign language visible to everyone in the audience?
I mean, they're on stage.
Well,
they're,
yeah,
they're
but,
on
like-
stage behind the characters, and like it is part of it.
And And also, sign language is pretty
It is pretty visual.
and like usually physically pretty large
I'm
movements.
not sure if they had any kind
Gotta
of
get somebody
projection
with big
techniques.
hands.
I'm not sure exactly, but it was all to bring out like an additional layer of language
And I'm-
barrier.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if I
communication.
remember, because I think I have actually seen a couple of clips of this. If from
Yeah.
what I remember correctly, it wasn't like they were to the side of the stage.
No, like they were physically like
They were
with
like
the
they were
actors.
acting with them.
They
on
they
stage
were
with
the
spotlight
actors.
and everything.
Uh-huh.
And then the hearing actors were basically like their tool. But the emphasis was on the deaf act. I don't know. I don't know
That's
enough
really,
about
really
it.
interesting.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to really fully speak on it, but I do think it's really cool. The theater I work at brings in a lot of like once a performance they'll bring in sign language interpreters, and just seeing the artistry of that, especially when it's like I've seen 2 interpreters handle a 20-person show. And they come in and they memorize all of the lines. Like they'll show up for like a week beforehand to rehearsals and like other shows, and just be signing in the lobby while the show's going on. And then they'll switch off in scenes. And the way that you can track who they're playing when they're playing like 10 different characters is all based off of like the physicality they bring to their body. It's really cool. It really definitely is its own art form.
And it's also like a hard thing to train for too, to be an
Yeah.
interpreter. And like there's specifically companies for theater interpreting when it comes to sign language, because it is such a physical demanding.
Yeah,
thing.
and like just to increase the accessibility of it is I think really wonderful.
So
Amazing.
pretty good at open captioning, live captioning.
Yes, I could plug the theater.
Yeah, I should bleep that one. I should have name dropped.
No, it's okay. Are we giving you a lot to edit out? I'm sorry.
No. The whole conversation, this entire conversation, I have not been able to stop thinking about the guy from Nelson Mandela's funeral. You guys know about this?
Oh, is Nelson? It was
The fake sign language
interpreter.
who was just like, and like with that context, if you go back and watch the video of this dude interpreting like all the eulogies that they're giving at the funeral, he's so clearly bullshitting it, and he's just doing like the same 5 or 6 motions over and over and over
But
again.
it is honestly really horrible when you think about like
It,
that is
like-
taking away someone's whole
Huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
Like, so terrible.
ability to communicate and like understand, be communicated with.
Yeah.
But I can't stop thinking about how fucking goofy he looked. He just,
Jesus.
it's, first of all, I want to know how he ended up there.
Yeah.
Like, what credentials did he
it-
have to fake to get there?
It happens all of the time. It wasn't just that one.
No,
one
it
piece.
happens-
It's the fact that you just have able-bodied people who are like, you say you're not able-bodied, but like you have hearing people. You know sign language, cool. Like, you're gonna be an interpreter. They don't. There's
Yeah.
No
unless you
background
know,
check.
they don't really. Yeah. It's
So wait,
fucked
so
up.
most of that is like kind of just like a lack of experience, and then they get hired anyway,
No,
or
sometimes
is it
people just fake it.
They just lie.
Sometimes people just
and then
lie.
they don't check their lie. And then
God,
they
Yeah.
just
what the fuck is the
It's
point?
happened in the
Well,
U.S. too. I
because
think
Man,
it happened
you're-
with one of Biden's speeches.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I also think sign language interpreters make a pretty solid rate. In
Yeah,
terms of,
like a good
I
a
understand
good
why
one costs
people-
money.
Like I don't
But there's-
understand, but like people would fake it probably to get the paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
People.
I want to punch capitalism in the nose.
Yeah.
Marty,
God.
you're a predictable little boy.
Accessibility is important, everybody.
Yeah, truly.
Yes.
I mean, like, it's really cool that I got to know you two in particular because of the way that you talk about theater, has opened my eyes to some of the tools of the medium. And, like, I always kind of viewed them as, like, like sister mediums in a way, because I've always felt like they're similar in effect, but, like, I'm
did
realizing
before.
now how different they
yeah,
really are.
it took coming to college for me to realize how different film and theater were.
Yeah.
Just like the things that you can accomplish in each, like
Wildly
like,
different.
and
It's
you
all
can be
about how
you can
use it.
way more easily be like very surreal and like kind of like not supernaturalistic on stage,
my favorite.
but like it's still super immersive.
And like people
because
will
of the
buy
fact
it
that
more
you're
than they'll buy
there.
movies where people are acting more authentically.
Well,
Yeah.
because I think there's something to say about seeing what you know is a.
No.
I mean, whether or not it's. Yeah, you can't. Oh my god,
do
what
that.
would Marty do if he got drunk?
I don't know. Be miserable. You would probably hate
Oh,
it.
also
Yeah.
for the folks at home, I am a theater major personally, design and production.
I am
Yeah,
not a.
flex. Go
I just
off.
to explain
No,
why I
I'm
know
saying-
about
Credentials.
Brag!
it. Credentials.
You have the
That's
you
why
have
I
the,
like
the,
it.
the resume.
Yes. I am not a theater major. I'm a theater minor. I want to do theater.
You're basically like you know enough about theater.
I'm a dramaturg. I work
Yeah.
with side stage. I work at a theater. I'm only doing the sociology thing to make my parents happy, which is a weird thing for them to decide they wanted me to do. Like, I'm sorry, what job do you expect me to get as a sociologist?
I forget all the time, honestly, that you're not a theater major.
That's a real compliment to me.
Yeah, you're also, I mean, I'm personally, like, I don't do a ton of script analysis, so I feel like you're a lot more qualified in that field. I like to do the building.
You're
and
better at that
designing.
than I am.
Oh
And I
my
think,
God.
like, maybe what I was about to say you could maybe
Yeah.
speak to. Because, like, I've said it before several times. Part of what I personally love about theater... What are you doing?
He's filming Marty B-roll.
Yeah, Marty.
These our camera craps out. I
Call,
think we should do that every episode.
call it M-roll.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Marty roll.
Marty roll. Marty
but-
got rolls.
Part of what I love about theater is that there's something that forces you into a suspension of disbelief where it's like the world that a theater artist is tasked with making has to exist on whatever the dimensions of the stage in front of you are.
Yeah.
Like your entire world exists on a rectangle or a circle or wherever it is, but it's right in front of you. And you have to make me as an audience believe that like what's happening there is real, that this is a world different, somehow like separated, not necessarily. That makes it sound like I don't like breaking the fourth wall. I do like breaking the
No,
fourth
but
wall.
I think I understand what you're saying because I like to play with space and the
Yeah.
expectations of a space with an audience as best I can. I did a lot of set design in high school. I haven't done a lot of set design recently because pandemic, gross. But one of the things I like to do is play with spatial expectations, both in either, if you're not literally physically breaking the fourth wall, creating a space actors can really interact with and kind of work with in unexpected ways.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to like breaking the fourth wall, like when I was in high school, we did Hairspray. It was a miserable show to work on. I won't get into that.
we tried to do Hairspray.
We shouldn't have tried.
No,
It's
we
yep.
shut it down because I said you can't have white kids singing Blacker the Berry.
Yep.
Not okay.
We should have done that. We
Not okay. The fact I had to say that is kind of sad.
we had a bit of a weird thing happen where there was a large push for us to do Hairspray to create more roles for actors of color in our
Yeah.
school, which, you know, theoretically is a good thing, but we also hadn't created a space that people of color felt comfortable joining and
That's a
auditioning in.
really big
And we
thing.
essentially
That's really
forced them
important.
to prove they could do the thing by auditioning for a show and then realized they didn't like it.
Yeah.
And it was like, we just fucked up our whole thing. It's a totally other story. I could rant about that forever. It was
Theater
a miserable
diversity
time.
is a lot of
Yes.
things that we probably both have feelings on.
Because Hairspray is a pretty dated show. but-
Actually, honestly,
I think Hairspray is one of the ones
Hairspray-
that aged not as poorly.
Hairspray, I think, is a pretty solid. I think it holds up pretty well.
I
I mean,
think
it's a
it-
little out of touch these days. I think.
Yeah, but it's a matter of like, I think that if you want to do a show, and this is not to just have a bunch of white people talk about,
No,
you know,
yeah.
but if you want to do a show, like to feature actors of color, you need to make those roles both accessible and like you can't just say I want to do a show and then like not make any plans on how you're gonna cast it or how you're gonna get people to audition for it or do stuff like that, because then
Yeah.
you end up, I don't know, you just have to be sensitive, and if you're not and you just do it because you want to be woke, like you're doing a
Yeah,
bad thing.
that was a bit of what happened at my high school.
Yeah.
It was an interesting time, but
anyway, you were saying.
when we did do Hairspray, I was the set designer, and I don't stand by a lot of my set design choices that show because I fucked up some things. But the one
You
thing
were also in high school.
I put a lot of pressure on myself, which is also why I fucked up a lot of things. But the one thing I was very proud of is the very end of the show. There's the moment where they're crashing the filming of the TV studio.
Yeah.
And I remember the director of the show was talking with me, and she was like, yeah, and then we'll probably have them exit from the side stage. And I was like, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, they say, we're coming in through the front door. Have them enter in through the front doors of the theater.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, have them break that fourth wall for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like impactful scene in the show. Get some spotlights on them. And like at each time, the audience would get really swept up in that moment because for the first time, the actors are breaking into the space that they're in. It works sometimes, and they're not physically interacting with the audience a ton.
No, not
But what
at
they're
all.
doing is they're breaking that space and breaking expectations in the final climactic moment of the show.
And I think playing with the whimsy in a space can be really fun.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. I've pointed out a few moments to these two before where, like, there are just some scenes that you see on stage and you're like, I always point to the rain scene from Indecent. It's a play everyone should see, in my opinion.
Oh my God, stop.
Okay.
I'm gonna cry
It's on my
right
list.
now.
It's on my list. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I think all of us would be okay rewatching that. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I would
Okay.
love to.
I'd love to.
There's
I'd love
a
to watch
scene
it.
in
Period.
Indecent
Yes.
that is mentioned throughout the entire play. So the entire play is about a play, and you hear the rain scene several times throughout. It's spoken in English. It's spoken like in like a broken kind of Yiddish Hebrew, but like you hear it read, you see it performed, you see it, all these things. The final time you see it, this big moment after it's been referenced the whole time, this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful scene. They made it rain on stage. And it just, I don't know. I'm sure I hope you two are thinking of the image in your head.
I'm
because
like you're activating my tear ducts right now.
it
I'm
takes you
joking.
right back into that moment because you're watching it and you're like, I have been hearing about this scene the whole time and I've been hearing about how beautiful it is. And it was beautiful to see it performed. But to, for the first time, see it fully performed entirely in Yiddish. It's just this scene between these two people. They're not the actors playing the actors. They are the characters themselves. It just does something to you inside and you can't even explain it. And like, that's a great example of something that like, I've never even seen it live. I can't imagine seeing that scene
Oh my
live.
God. If I ever get the opportunity, like
I'm gonna
I need to.
jump at the bit.
I feel like
Oh,
I
yeah.
really, really need to.
And
Do that.
there's so many.
I was thinking of when you were talking about like short play selections. It'd be really funny if we tried to make them do Indecent, but I don't think.
I don't think
We would. Yeah, we wouldn't.
If you
have
want to
the-
do a scene with rain justice, that's big money.
Yeah.
We'll just send people up to the catwalks with buckets that will cut holes in the bottom of. And
But
we'll
there's
shake 'em.
there's even smaller moments than that. Like there's oh, you've seen the movie once.
Yes.
The musical once is one of my favorite musicals.
Did you see it at the Arden?
I did not see it at the Arden. I've seen it 3 times though.
I saw it at the Arden and I loved it.
I saw it on the national tour and there's this one scene.
Ooh.
There's this one scene in it where like it's a very simple thing. It's not something that requires a lot of special effects. It's not raining inside. It's nothing like that. It's just a scene where the stage was split in 2. So there were people standing on top. Like there was an upper level. And they're standing on top. And it's about a man and a woman who fall in love but never say it. And they never kiss and they never have their moment. They go their separate ways. Spoiler. Sorry. But I think there's something beautifully tragic about stories like that. It's like one of
yeah.
my favorite things.
My favorite movie has a story like that. In the Mood for
Exactly.
Love.
It's
In
why.
the Mood for Love is a great example.
It's
a
why- I was
great
gonna say
example.
La La
It's why. I was meant to say it's why I think it's funny that you don't really love La La Land a lot.
I have the
Oh,
capacity to love La La Land. You don't want to get us started on
We've
that.
talked about La La Land.
Do you not like it either?
I don't not like La La Land. I think La La Land is a poor attempt at theater.
Yes.
In terms, it is a poor attempt at theater and film.
I kind of agree with you.
I think Annette is a great example of theater and film.
Yeah, honestly, after watching Annette,
Do you understand what we're saying?
I actually totally get it.
I think
Because
the
I think-
only good scene in La La Land. Oh, you go ahead. I've been
No,
talking
no,
a lot.
you talk about that first.
The ending scene.
Yes.
Where both Sebastian and whatever Emma's character's name is. What's her name? I
Mia.
forget. Mia.
Yeah.
They're both imagining their lives
Yes.
simultaneously. What could have been. And then it, like...
That's the best moment of La La Land.
It's the moment that makes the most sense. There are so many times where they try to make it a theatrical number, and it just... You see the facade of it. And the good theater, the facade you don't see. You don't see that it's fake.
Or if
you
you
fully get immersed
Or
in
if you
it.
see the facade, it's intentional.
It's intentional, it's whimsical, it like brings you somehow in
think-
closer or farther.
I think a lot of my issue with La La Land stems from the visuals, actually. And I think it's not because the visuals are bad necessarily from a composition or a color or whatever standpoint. The issue is that it is a executive film person's brain trying to recreate the scenery of theater with CGI and editing effects and all this stuff, when all of that could be done more successfully, more beautifully with practical effects. And it kind of cycles back
you
to
have a great example in the scene.
yes.
Go
So
ahead.
my biggest pet peeve of the film, and this is a scene everybody loves, is like
The planetarium.
the planetarium.
Yes, the planetarium
It's the planetarium scene. And it's the scene where they go up and they dance with the stars and it's just a CGI mess. I mean, it's not a mess, like it's done well, but it's CGI. It's very...
That is also my least favorite
Yeah.
scene in the movie.
And every
Listen
time
to
I
the
every time I
solutions.
watch that scene, I just think this scene could have been beautiful. They scrap the CGI and they just do twinkling simple lights, like the simplest thing, black and white lights. I've seen that effect done better on like
stage,
Broadway's
yeah.
Aladdin, like when they do the fly carpet scene. That scene was
Legitimately.
beautiful.
Yeah.
And like,
Like,
and it was Disney's Aladdin the musical. I saw
Yeah.
it when I was like a kid on like a field trip. But like that way of doing Starlight was more impactful and more meaningful than the CGI. And the CGI looks more realistic. But realistic in quotes, like as in it is replicating the real thing. But the issue is it's trying to replicate actual physical constellations. What it should be doing is replicating the feeling behind a
Yeah.
constellation.
And
Yes.
that's where it gets lost. It gets lost in what theater is trying
And
to
I think
do.
the ironic part of it is the movie is a love letter to Hollywood, and they decided to
She's
do
not
love-
even a stage actress.
Yeah,
She
they
does
decided
one
to
stage
do a
show.
love letter to Hollywood in the form of theater, in which Hollywood famously is bad at.
So
Yeah, and you have all these moments that just like legitimately, I feel like one of the reasons why I was so off put by that movie is it starts with that big opening dance number
The
that
opening-
is absolutely useless. Like there is no point in having that in the show.
And honestly, they it's been a while since I've watched all of so correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they ditch group numbers after like the first two.
They have two group numbers, and
And
then
it's the first two. If they had cut the group numbers and focused more on their individual relationships with the music, I think it would be a little better.
and I think one of you said that the storytelling, I forget which one of you. One of you said the storytelling in it was like not flat, but like not great. Like you said,
I felt like it wasn't super memorable.
I think if you took out the moments that feel theatrical and just told the story as it is, I actually think it's a really beautiful
is a-
foundation for
it's
a
a
story,
good story.
of two people who love each other and love their craft and can never be successful when they're together. Like,
Yeah.
that's why that ending scene hurts you so bad, because you're like, they
Yeah.
both technically have everything they ever wanted, and yet they don't. But,
And-
like,
Yeah,
and there's this scene where they have that super dramatic. Oh, don't! You're making a look.
No,
You're giving a
I'm
face.
just, I just.
he's
see
been
Mac has been
watching
making
me
a
like
face.
waiting to
Yeah.
say something for like 10 minutes.
Not
Okay,
like
no,
10
I'm
minutes.
kidding.
A few minutes.
No,
Well,
no.
finish your point.
Yeah, go
but
on.
I'm also very ready to hear your counterpoint.
I guess all I'm saying is I think that the storytelling isn't that flat. There's a scene, but the tonal shifts make no sense. Like there's the one scene where they fight at dinner, and it's a very dramatic. It's filmed like I sent you a clip of it at one point when I was watching it because I was just so perplexed. Like it's a scene that just feels like this is a normal dramatic movie, and then like the next one, there's a cut of like Emma Stone singing in an audition about her alcoholic aunt who died from being an alcoholic aunt, but she looked up to her. And it's like I don't know, it feels cheap. It feels like a joke.
It does. I think
It takes you out of it.
The best parts of the story are the more raw interpersonal relationship parts
Yeah.
of it, and I think the parts of it that are like, we love Hollywood. Hollywood's great. Look at how romantic and cool Hollywood is. That's when it kind of fades
Okay,
for
well,
me.
okay, all right. Now I'm okay. I've been
Here.
sitting on this for a minute.
I have to
First
pull
of
out
all,
my notes.
the worst scene that I think, or not the worst scene. It is also one of my favorite scenes. But the scene that is like sucking Hollywood's dick the biggest is that last scene. It is that last scene where they are fully embracing the style and the ennui and the costumes and the attitude of like old 50s movies and like
Well, I
old
guess-
50s romances, and like that is the part where they're just like screaming in your face like, you guys remember how like fantastical old Hollywood was? Like that's how that whole ending feels to me. The reason I really like the movie is because I kind of like that it is almost like they're trying to counterbalance film and theater in a lot of scenes. And I agree that I think a lot of it clashes, and I think the planetarium is the worst example of it. However, I fucking love the opening scene.
I hate it.
I remember
I legitimately wanted to stop watching the movie after.
I
skipped through it. Sorry.
I don't get how. Like, it's not essential to the show or to the movie by any means. But, like, I just think that Damien Chazelle went, I want to do an old school musical number like the way they used to do them in these old fucking movies because nobody makes them like this
But
anymore.
they
And it's
didn't
a
film it like they used. Like
Well,
No, they
even-
did it better. It's a fucking one take, and
I'd
they go
actually-
through and they rehearse this and actually shut down an LA freeway. And there's like something to the filmic aspect of that where it feels cheap because that would be more authentic on a stage. But for me, as someone who really appreciates the medium of film, I can't help but just be in fucking awe for that whole opening number. Because, like, yeah, it could be done a lot better on a stage with a controlled setting, and they're not actually on an LA freeway, but it's like they're merging the realistic settings and like actions of film with the campiness and theatricality of theater, and I love it. I think it's cool.
I half agree with you because I also agree that the visuals of that scene are the best part. If the song was even remotely memorable and I cared, like it just the song has that's memorable, but like they're singing, it feels like they're not singing about much. The song doesn't drive the plot forward that much. I mean, it's introducing the setting kind of, but it's not a strong musical opener. It doesn't give me chills.
That's the thing, like all of the theatrical elements that you're bringing up, and like I do admit, like they are filmed well, and I'm not saying that they're not. It's just like there's no purpose in them being in the movie. Like it feels really disjointed to me. I don't know if you got that feeling.
I think it's the issue is the big group numbers are the most theatery things, but they feel the most out of place in the film.
And they happen so infrequently. It doesn't make sense when they appear.
It only happens twice, and it only happens at the beginning.
Yeah, it's
if
when
they had just done the group opening number and they'd done it as kind of an opening to the setting.
Yeah, I don't like the second one.
The second one
like
with the roommates.
Yeah,
the second one really cheapens it, especially since we never see those roommate characters again.
Yeah, that one I will agree is a waste. But the reason I really like the first one is I feel like it just kind of like, it's just a tone setter. It's just like, this is the world that you're in for. Like, hyper-realistic setting, and a lot of it is going to feel a little clunky and a little awkward because they're insisting on doing a lot of it either A, in one takes. A lot of the musical numbers are legitimately done in one takes, and I think it's really fucking cool because it's really hard to do. And B, I don't know, I think it's just cute. Like, I think it's just, it's not super important, but I don't really need it to be. I like the song. I think it's peppy. It's like, it feels very like corny and like you know, it feels very generic, but I don't find it to be a bad thing because I think the story that follows is a lot more interesting. But that like opening is just like boom, pow. This is what these old movies felt like. This is the kind of shit that I wanted to go for. But like at the end, it's more about Sebastian and Mia. But I think that's like a good like quick flashy opener that like does a little fun transition into like where our characters are starting out the story. Where they're on the freeway and the first time they meet each other is like flipping each other off in traffic. And it's like, I don't know. I think it all blends really well together. And it's like, it's a little tonally clunky, but like, I appreciate the effort.
I think part of the issue that I just put together now is that there's not enough distinction between it attempting to be theater and it attempting to be old school, like movie musical.
It's just Damien Chazelle, like, I don't know.
We don't have to turn it into a whole thing. I think
we're gonna have
well,
to
hold on, get ready for this.
I'm
about to sit on the fence. Shocker. But I think.
Yeah, you're one to talk.
But
I'm sorry. That was before I ever met you. I can't say that.
So here's what I want to say. I think that there are certain moments that don't work for me all the time, but like generally, I mean, I look back on that movie fondly, because like, you know, I honestly, I don't think the movie needs to decide in every single moment, like whether it wants to emulate theater or whether it wants to emulate, you know, the golden age of Hollywood. I think that there are moments that blend them like really beautifully.
Lovely Night.
I think
Lovely Night. The fucking scene when Sebastian's playing, you know, boring like Christmas music in the restaurant, and then like, you know, it's kind of like Soul before Soul, where, you know, he gets into the zone. Like, you know, the spotlight, you know, the lights dim down, then he's got the spotlight on him. I think, you know, it's cool because it's a one take and it, you know, feels very filmic, but like, you know, it's kind of like surreal and like, you know, not super grounded like theater. You know, it feels like a very theatrical moment, but like it's, I don't know. I feel like it blends film and theater really well right now.
I would agree. I would say La La Land is a pretty B tier movie, like at the end of the day. But like, what is really cool is really cool, and I have to give it credit for it.
I think, I don't know how you feel about this. That's actually a scene I really don't like.
To be honest, it's been a while since I've seen La La Land, so I don't fully remember that scene. I'm not going to speak to it.
And I think, again, well, part of it I do want to say, I feel like part of it comes from just the fact that I think a lot of people have an idea of what theater is, but they don't fully, like, obviously we have a different kind of connection to it, but I feel like a lot of people treat theater like it's kind of like not a real art form, but like people only know the commercialized version of it. Like the general public, they're gonna know the Broadway, and they're not gonna know, or they're gonna know the stuff they saw in high school done by their classmates, but they're not gonna see like, I don't know, like some weird fucking play at a like back alley theater connected to a hotel. I'm not describing a theater I go to frequently. And so like when you put that sort of depiction of theater on stage, people go into the same like, theater's just always singing songs and doing the little dance. It's not great. And like I just feel like I'm doing a really bad job of explaining what I'm saying.
But it's like, it's not La La Land's responsibility to like...
I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying as people who are more ingrained in theater, like you saying, oh, the light's dimming down, that feels like a very theatrical thing. Like I don't necessarily think that it did feel like a theatrical thing, because I was fully aware that this was still happening. The whimsy of the space wasn't there. You were showing me an entire bar scene before. Like, it was taking place in an actual set piece. It was taking place in a restaurant. And yeah, you turn the lights down, but it was still in a restaurant. The whimsy of that space is not there. I'm like, the same with the CG effects.
Hang on. Wait, I don't know if I completely follow what you're saying.
I don't, because you can't capture the whimsy of the space with the camera.
And that's what I'm saying.
But like, I think they do a really good job of like, they do set the tone of like, it's a real actual setting that he's in, but then they like drown everything. Like they just put it in complete darkness.
That is a really cool subjective experience.
Yeah,
that
like
they are
it
imparting on the
like,
audience.
they turn the room.
I'm just saying it
doesn't
feel that way for me.
I think the thing that the disconnect here is, I think from what Tara and I experienced watching the film, and like it's an entertaining movie, but I think in terms of what it does with the theatrical elements, it takes the spectacle of theater, but it cuts away a lot of the vulnerability.
Yes.
That is a very good point.
You put it in the words that I was trying to say.
I think that's what you're trying to go for.
Yes, I was getting very lost in it.
They took the spectacle, they took the visual, which I understand for a film, it's really...
And you can't recreate the vulnerability of theater on camera. It's just not possible, because the big part of the vulnerability of theater is like the actor on stage willing to give this live personal performance. It's a different kind of vulnerability.
No, okay, can I give 2 examples real quick?
Yeah.
My favorite scene in Annette versus the scene you just mentioned. My favorite scene in Annette is him in the courtroom when she talks about, he says he sees, I always forget, what's the opera singer's name? Anne.
The baby's name is Annette. Annette.
Well, hang on.
Little Anne.
It's okay.
But it's the courtroom scene at the end where he's being sentenced, and like the lights go down. The courtroom is suddenly empty, and he's walking through, and they're singing to each other as she's in the shadows, and it's like this really cool, visually interesting scene from a film standpoint in the way they're moving the camera, but it's creating those like the lights dimming down effect in theater. And the same with like, even there's moments in a different movie, French Dispatch, when like they do the thing with
I wanted to bring that up.
Moses, where they switch the age of young Moses to old Moses by having older Moses stand behind him, take off his necklace, put it on, sit down. And that's like, okay, you're signaling to me that we're transitioning, and this is the same person, but we're transitioning in time. That's a really cool way to use that.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really good.
In La La Land, light go down, he and zone.
Yeah, I think the issue for me with
it
La
just
La
didn't
Land,
hit the same way.
I don't think it's that. I see what you're saying, and I 100% agree. I think you're watering it down a lot.
I don't.
I think it's,
but that's okay.
I think it is a fine filmic scene on its own. It could have integrated the pieces better. It's still good.
I think you're watching it as film people. I think we're watching it as people who care a lot about the art of theater.
And I think the thing with theater is that lights dimming down is basic shit.
Yeah. There's so much more
for film, lights dimming down is big deal. So
simple scene. It's literally just him doing a jazz solo and then getting fired.
No,
it's a simple moment. But for him, it's a big deal. So it's just a simple lighting change. But it's drastic.
I think this is specifically for that scene. Yes, dimming down makes sense.
Go.
But letting the scene go. Looking at I think Tara and I agree with this to a certain extent. Looking at the film as a whole, it takes the superficial aspects of theater, the kind of spectacle aspects of theater
And the emotional aspects of film.
and meshes them together. And I think it lacks because the emotional aspect of film comes a lot from the close-ups, the vulnerability, the really small moments, and it drowns out a lot of those beautiful small moments that we see between these two characters falling in love, falling out of love, with the big spectacle thing that looks cheap and hollow in a film format in that sense. So I think overall, La La
Putting
Land,
them next to each other
yeah,
just makes it
La La
more
Land is an
glaring to
extremely
me.
entertaining movie. It's a fun watch. Like, I'm not going to watch La La Land and just fall asleep. It's a good film,
And I
think,
agree with you. I would give it a B tier.
Yeah, it's definitely like a B tier
rating.
rating. I think
I don't like its
what I
portrayal of
don't
theater.
like its like original musical kind of component to it, because I think that it would have been a better musical if it had cut away some of the flash, focused a little more on the intimate.
If
and
every theatrical scene was like the lights going down in the diner, maybe you would sell me.
or even if we had cut the CGI budget and built some practical fucking shit.
Give
Yeah.
me some
Honestly,
light bulbs.
Yeah, at the end of the
also,
day, though,
I'm
I could
pretty
chalk that up to
sure-
the studio not wanting to give
Yeah.
Damien
And
Chazelle
also,
a bunch of
I'm
money for
pretty
this
sure,
movie. Because it was
I don't remember fully, but that scene where the lights dims down in the piano studio, is that practical lighting? I don't think so.
It is.
Oh,
Yeah, that's 100% practical
It's
lighting.
totally. Wait, for the restaurant thing?
Isn't
There
there
was
one
time
scene
out?
where it's like very dark spot? I think I'm remembering.
A lot of the lighting effects are practical.
Yeah, it's because they're working on sets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just have a bunch of sets there, so they have lighting rigs above.
Yeah,
So it's like,
there's-
it's normal, like, standard setup for a film.
Yeah, I just
They don't do CG lighting is not a thing
No.
that a lot of things do. You can tell that's why a lot of modern blockbusters don't
True.
look very good, because they
Yeah.
they keep thinking that they can adjust lighting in post, and then they keep forgetting that, like,
No.
when you put actors on green screen, you
Rubber
have to, like,
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
or they just clearly don't look like they're on the plane that they're supposed to be on, because, like, the way that you have to do those effects is you have to and I'm explaining this, but you explained it to me. You just have to know what it's going to look like in the end before you even start filming, so you have to
Exactly.
light it properly, so that when you do key them into, like, the digital background you've created, the lighting matches,
Yeah.
and it'll never look like the human eye will, like, for the most part, unless you're, like, really good, the human eye will always be able to be like, something about this looks off, but, like, the magic of film is being able to make that margin as small as possible.
Yeah.
You're never gonna completely sell everybody. Like, somebody is always gonna have the keen eye to, like, pick out even the best special effects, but, like, you know, you got to do your best to pre-plan ahead of time.
Yeah.
That's why I think the planetarium scene in La La Land kind of looks like ass, because I think they
Makes me so
originally
angry.
wanted to do something more practical, but that was a set that would have been too complicated for their budget on top of what they were already
But it
doing.
honestly wouldn't have, though. Like, it really wouldn't have.
It maybe.
It
You
literally-
can never know.
I
I'm
could've-
making assumptions.
I could have made that with a
Dark room
$200
and
theater
light
budget.
bulbs.
Yeah, it could have been very simple.
The
But I
executives
think,
are just out of touch.
but also the
I
thing.
mean, like the lack of budget. I mean, maybe they
that's
just thought
the-
that would be too time
here's
consuming.
the thing. That's the
It could be that.
issue. The issue with film is they have tons of money, zero time. Theater has zero money, tons of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're good at creating cheap solutions to problems that take a little bit of time to create, versus film, which is like, we need to build a set in 2 days, get all the money and all the furniture here, and we'll just put it together.
Which is super stupid, because if they just, like, didn't feel the need to have to push out movies so fucking quickly, and they just
Yeah.
gave them, like, instead of giving them 6 months to shoot and then, like, another 6 months of pre-production or post-production to, like, edit the whole movie, if you just even added an extra 6 months and you just had your film cycles be on a year and a half instead of a year,
Yeah.
and just give your crews
it's-
like
I think a
just
part
a
of that-
couple more months of time where they can spend you know, and, like, again, you can cheapen the budgets and, like, extend the time of your sets, and, like,
I think
you
maybe
cannot have
some
to
people are thinking
splurge
of,
so
like,
much.
relevancy
Yeah,
to
you
the
gotta-
moment.
gotta
Because
keep the
like, you
hype
do
train
need to stay
moving.
on that, and that is like one of the benefits that I think that's really cool about theater is like theater is in a way, not in a way, like theater is made to be reproduced.
Yeah,
the
You
whole
know,
point.
plays are written to be redone.
like, and every now and then you get a remake of it. Well, more common now, you get remakes of movies, but like plays are meant to be put on multiple times for as long as you want in
And-
different ways, and people still find different ways to do it. Like,
and it's
sucks is-
also
oh, sorry, go
oh,
ahead.
I was also gonna say, it's like the beautiful thing to me about theater is when a playwright writes a show, they they know they are willingly giving up part of their creative vision
That is something
to a production.
I had to explain to my dad, because my dad got into playwriting, and he was writing down everything that he wanted in the stage directions and in the set design. And I was like, Dad, you gotta let go. And it took a while for him to get it, but I ended up doing it. I forget what shows I showed him, but I showed him like 2 different versions of the same show, and I was like, look at everything that you can do and the story you can choose to tell. Like, that's why I really like there's this one like theater technique where you, for writing, because I know you do the design side of things and I work on the writing side, but there's like one thing that you can do where it's like you read the whole play and then you write a summary of the play that is no more than 5 to 7 sentences, and in that summary what you write is like where you're going to find your main themes. So you can summarize a play in a million different ways. It depends on what you choose to pull out and what sticks out and what story you want to tell. And you can change the story you want to tell from the same words. It's really just...
Yeah, and I mean, it's beautiful because there are so many themes to every piece. I mean, people do literary analysis of books and they pull different things from it every time. And the great thing about theater is the whole point is to pull a new theme or pull a new take or set it in a new decade or like do something different with this beautiful piece of work.
Yeah, and not to circle back a little bit, but when I brought up Once, my favorite scene in Once, like I said, I've seen it 2 or 3 different times, and the first time I saw it, the scene made me cry, and the second time I saw it, I almost got angry at the audience for laughing, like, because they found it really funny. And then I had to be like, I don't get to choose how they play this, but like, to me, this is still heartbreaking. And it's the scene where the 2 main characters who are in love are standing on the second level of the platform and looking out over the sea, and in is it just Czech? Is that what they speak in the Czech Republic? Because
I think let's
is
don't
it the
quote
Republic?
us on that. But
I don't know what we're calling
They were
it.
speaking the national language of Czechoslovakia.
Yeah, because she's Czech, but they speak it, and
Or the Czech Republic.
Yeah. I don't
I'm
know
not
world
well
affairs.
versed in-
I
skipped geography, fun fact,
I'm
in
a
school.
theater kid. I don't know. But he only speaks English. She says in Czech, "I love you," and you see the words projected on the level right below them. And he goes, "What did you say?" And she says something about the weather. Like, her response is, "Oh, it's cold out," or something like that. So he never knows that she said, "I love you." Like, the whole story is about them being in. It hits me in the heart.
So good. That show's so good.
It's so good. And that scene is not something that's big and flashy. It's not a moment where it rains on stage. I've seen that happen so many times. But it's not a moment where it rains on stage. It's not something where we're transformed in time. We're just sitting in this moment of watching these 2 people, and you know how they both feel, and you know they'll never say anything. You know it's never going to work. And it hits you in the feels. And the second time I saw it, everyone laughed when she was like, "Oh, it's cold out today." And I'm like, that's not funny. It's heartbreaking. And I was like, no, but she chose to make it funny, and I can't take that choice away from her.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just really cool.
that's
how
really
how
fucking interesting.
I highly recommend, if you ever have the chance to see shows that you like again with a different company or a different director, like, changes everything.
It's why I think the fact that people complain that there are as many remakes in film as they are is like, the fact that there are a bunch of remakes is not the issue. It's the fact that they keep remaking movies that have like they did a really good job of telling their story visually and like written.
Their
like
solution is just to add more CG to it.
Yeah, well, and also like the changes that they do make are always to make things contemporary, and it never works because like movies were made in the era that they were made. However, I think that there is more room for repetition in film. I like the idea of like taking the movies that always had the most potential but were just executed really shittily and letting different artists try and work on them to try and make the idea work.
Wouldn't it be so interesting?
I'm gonna do the Star Wars prequels.
Wouldn't it be so interesting if you took a film script, didn't change anything about the script, just like you do with theater, and you made a new movie out of it? That would
Suspiria.
that would be so interesting.
Yeah,
Why don't people do that more?
I'm not gonna lie. They actually that's a bad example because the Suspiria remake just added a script.
Well, yeah.
No, I mean
I like the original
it is kind of an
Suspiria.
interesting
It doesn't make
idea.
any fucking sense.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where people are like, why would I pay for it twice? And it's like, well, you're missing the point.
Like
Different
like
people
new
made it.
director, new cast, new visual team. Like that'd be interesting.
That's where the artistry comes from.
You could even do it with like a really old show, like one that people never watch anymore because it's like so
Yeah.
dated.
And I think one of the
Arsenic
things
and old lace.
Well, that's a great play.
Yeah.
It is. It's funny.
I think one of the things that you had mentioned a few nights ago was just the fact that, like, I think it was you. Maybe it was you. It was one of the two of you.
Brain think like.
Brain think like is true, and often in same rooms sitting next to each other, so it makes it
yeah.
more confusing.
Yes.
Um,
I did not understand your cave person.
Brain did not think like in that moment.
No.
Brain nothing like,
not
no.
proving your point.
You just made me look like an ass to the world.
The world of
Well, all 7 people on the planet who watch this show.
Hey, it's more like 13.
One less audience member. I, can't
I don't
watch
have
this one.
13 fingers, so I can't show the number 13. I did 7. Yes, this is
Yeah.
13.
Teamwork.
You were
Brain
saying.
think like.
Someone says something.
Brain
Someone
think like.
says something every day.
Movie thing.
Movie thing. Damn, you guys distracted me. Oh, we were talking about the different. I think a big difference here in both the reproducibility of it is also that, like, and I think this was you who mentioned it, like, the role of a director in theater is very different than the role of a director in film. Like, theater is in my opinion, its best forms are when it's, like, highly collaborative and everyone is kind of working together, and the director is like a wrangler and, like, okay, like, here's the collective vision we're working towards, but, like, everyone's has a lot more, like, creative control over the aspects that they are in charge of making.
And there's also a lot of collaboration outside of the director.
Yeah.
Like, designers tend to collaborate when the director isn't in the room and they show up to the director like, here's our final product we came up with.
And I tend to work, I mean, I have, like, a bit part in the in the process, but, like, I tend to work between playwrights, directors, and occasionally actors. Like, who knows who's going to be in the room, but they all have an input.
The one thing I find really funny about design classes too is part of the thing that kind of like teach us / coach us on is like, okay, here's how you deal with an artsy fartsy director and here's how you pitch your ideas to them and like appeal to all their little director needs. Like, we're kind of a little bit rude in how we talk about directors and designer
No,
classes.
valid.
Yeah, very much. The attitude's always like,
I'm one of them. Valid.
the attitude's always like, all right, so your director might not fully understand how sets work, so here's how you baby them into knowing what's happening.
A good director should show up with at least a base knowledge of everything that they're working with, so that they can't make, make up ideas or give them like plans to do things that are completely unfucking feasible because they just don't know what they're talking about.
Well, I mean, I kind of depends though, because I think sometimes even if a director doesn't know a ton about how things are actually
If they give you
done,
a bullshit crazy idea and you somehow manage to make it work, it always makes you feel like really fucking
Yeah,
good,
and I
man.
also
You're
think
like, how?
I think there's also a value in getting ideas from people that don't fully have, because like sometimes when I design, I get limited by my construction brain because I mean this happened a lot, you know, not to be like, oh, back in high school, but like when in high school when I would design, I would be thinking we have X amount of stock flats, so how do I work these flats into my design? And that is a practical part of design that's important for theater. But the other part of your brain for theater is like expanding beyond that, thinking beyond like what your physical restrictions are and thinking more about what the show could need and require. And so sometimes when someone with no idea of how a set is built goes to you and goes like, oh, could like cool rocks be floating over here? You're like, fuck, could cool rocks be floating over here? All right, yeah, let's figure it out. Even if it doesn't work.
One of my favorite plays calls for 2 tons of lettuce to fall from the ceiling.
Brilliant.
And
I
you're
love
like,
that.
Cool.
Yeah.
How do I? And
2 actual tons?
She writes it as 2 tons, and she also writes that because they die in a lettuce fight. And there's one of the women also, her uterus falls out for the whole show, and there's a whole thing about her picking up her uterus and putting it back.
What the fuck show is this?
It's called Women Laughing Alone with Salad.
Oh man,
It's-
I'm actually kind of into that show.
Do you want me to send you I have a
send me the
PDF
script.
library. I will send you the script.
Yeah,
it has one of the
I
best
need
like
to read
ending
the scripts you
monologues.
sent me. I haven't had time. But winter break, I have time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read the scripts.
They're all gay.
I honestly
love it.
think that the film world could stand to learn a lot from theater in terms of how they treat their directors. I really hate the cult of personality around directors in film. It bothers me a lot.
That's why I hate most directors.
Yeah, that's why like I fucking hate Christopher Nolan. I hate Ridley Scott. I don't like Quentin Tarantino. Like I vehemently dislike all these people that people say are like great. In hindsight, Hitchcock and Kubrick made great movies, but they made great movies at the expense of like their crew and their actors.
Tippi
and they
Hedren had to go into therapy.
So
for
did fucking
Birds.
Shelley Duvall.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Who? Oh, I watched a video recently where
And
someone
the Birds isn't even that good.
No, the Birds sucks.
No justification for the abuse she suffered.
No, the Birds is terrible. And like
No, they threw live birds at her.
well, and with The Shining,
It's not funny.
the
Yeah,
to,
no,
to
it's
credit
just wacky. Like, why would that's a real person who made that movie.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
to quote the YouTuber Maggie Mae Fish, she made a really good video about Stanley Kubrick and The Shining specifically, and she said that Kubrick trusted Jack Nicholson to play crazy without being crazy. He did not trust Shelley Duvall to play sad and anxious without actually being sad and anxious. Like actively was doing method to get her
Force
into
her
character.
into
Yeah,
method.
he would just make her whole experience on set shitty and anxiety inducing.
It's kind of like
so
what
that
they did
she
to Drew
gave-
Barrymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
and-
did when she was a fucking child.
well, so and the worst.
what?
So the worst part is.
E.T.
In E.T.?
They convinced Drew Barrymore that E.T. was real and that he actually died so that she would cry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
What the
it's,
fuck?
No, but
Yeah.
Well,
So-
okay,
The good
I
shot,
don't
though,
fully
without-
get. I kind of get it. So, this is okay.
I think Stanley Kubrick was just.
This is getting
sexist,
into
but-
acting stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, again, there's different methodologies, and some theater does lean into method acting, but I feel like a lot of the difference between film and theater acting is more the mindset of the only way that you can be realistic on stage is to be artificial. There's that kind of thought behind it.
And we saw that happen with Zoom theater, in which you put a camera way too close to
To
a
an
theater
actor,
actor's
and they
face.
look
And it's
insane.
rough.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
because acting to camera and acting to stage are two completely
They're
different
so
things.
different.
And I think
And so much of I feel like what comes from film is also theater, you're limited by the angles that people are seeing at. You guys have a lot more control of where the camera is in relation and to what we're seeing.
That's my favorite part of designing for film is I
Yeah.
get this beautiful, lovely small window, and I can design every single detail in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
It's
the best
theater,
fucking thing ever.
you can't micromanage. You gotta imagine that everyone's looking from
But-
every seat.
But the
That's
problem with
also
that,
great. There's
No,
pros
but
and
it's
cons
hard.
to both, but
It's
it's
hard.
a little harder. Yeah, but
Film,
I enjoy the challenge.
The worst thing about film is that film was so fucking easily commercialized. Because
Yeah.
Broadway.
it is
Well-
kind of. Broadway is an ongoing, expensive endeavor that just keeps raking in a bunch of money. You make one really good fucking movie, or let's not say good movie. You make one really profitable movie, you'll be raking in the
now
royalties
that's-
from that for fucking ever.
I mean, the reason that theater can never be as accessible as film is there are only so many seats in a theater.
Yeah.
There's only
Meanwhile-
so long a show can run.
But,
And
but
there's only so many places it can be and
Yeah.
how many actors you can.
I mean, with streaming nowadays, 1 million people can watch a movie in a day.
yeah.
At
I think it's
But-
an amazing thing and a terrible thing.
So
all at
an
once.
interesting thing though that happens with theater, for example, I know a lot of conversations have been coming up recently about captioning and subtitles with Squid Game or even Parasite when that came out. You are able to put a translation that everyone sees. Broadway, because it is so commercialized and it's in one of the most tourism heavy parts of the country, a lot of it is a lot of the storytelling, especially when things move from off-Broadway to Broadway, is dumbed down to make it more understandable through just visual, what is happening on stage for language barriers, because you can't put a line of text in whatever language. You can't select a subtitle. I don't know. That's kind of off track.
Well,
it is just an interesting
But
thing,
then the other thing about that is you can put subtitles on theater.
You
Open
can,
captioning.
but okay, what I'm saying is if you have people coming from Germany and Japan and France and America to all see the same show,
Yeah.
you can't caption that, and it does change the way language and visuals work on stage,
Well, hopefully
because it changes the manner of storytelling, because you're trying to tell the same story to a large.
Yeah, doesn't
I
it?
mean,
Film is suffering from literally the exact same problem, which is that because we have become, the film market is so accessible and so widespread, and everyone can watch anything anywhere. The people who are making movies are constantly making the movies in such a way where they're trying to appeal to as broad a demographic as
And that's
possible.
what's happening
and
on
they're
Broadway.
yeah, it's the same issue. And I think I find it really funny that globalization is making art worse.
Yeah.
You think that would be the other way around? You
I mean,
think that us being more connected and more in tune, well, not
No,
in
The
Because
thing
it's
is,
not
the thing is,
necessarily about
film
it being-
actually does reap more of the benefits of globalization
It does.
on a
Yeah,
smaller scale.
Yeah.
With independent filmmaking, oh my god,
Yes.
No, that's my computer. My computer fan.
Yeah.
I can't tell who is telling the truth right now. I actually have no idea if that is wind or a computer.
It is probably the
Winda?
computer.
Wind in the window? But anyway, we talk about Joel Haver a lot,
I was
but
gonna
like
bring him up soon.
he is truly like an incredibly inspirational creator for me, because he takes such minimal equipment and tells such compelling stories with it. Anyone who has not seen his feature-length film Pretend That You Love Me, like, maybe it's because I was coming down from an acid trip, but like, god damn, it made me cry so hard.
Yeah.
It was
Drowning
it touched
in
my
Potential
soul.
also like hit me right in all of the sweet spots that like nothing that comes out in a theater recently has really done for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to bring
Do you mean, wait,
like
a
his
film theater or a...
like film theater, yeah.
Okay.
No, like Joel's movies that
gotta
he
be more
Joel's
specific here.
Joel's movies that he puts out on YouTube for free for no money and doesn't ask for anything hit me way harder than a lot of the movies. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this is gonna be kind of a, I don't know. I liked Drowning in Potential more than Dune. I like Dune, but Dune, I feel like a lot of my love for it comes from the cinematic quality of it and how much money went into it. But with Joel's movie, there's no money put into it, and it's just passion. And when you
He
strip it
packs
back that
so
far,
much fucking emotion into his work, and it's incredible.
and to harp on a thing that we brought up recently, where you were like, "What the fuck is a best boy?"
Why do they call it that?
Well, so I think
don't
my
know.
favorite thing. I think my favorite thing that Joel
I'm sorry,
Haver,
what the fuck is a best boy?
Best,
Somebody's
best
like
explain.
it's the electrician of the
Oh.
set, but essentially.
Why do they call
generally
it
there's
the
one
best
best boy,
boy?
but
What if
there
it's a
also
lady?
are, sometimes the head of the
lady
grip
the best
department
boy?
is
The lady
also
is the
called
best
Called the
boy,
best
but-
boy.
Okay.
Yeah, best
Yeah.
boy grip. There's a lot.
And
but
there's best boy grip and best boy electric.
I think my favorite thing that Joel Haver ever said about our art form is that he was like, all these names that people came up with, like grip, gaffer, best boy, he was like, these were things that were coined and came up with during like the original studio era of filmmaking, and like everybody just takes it at face value now. He was like, you can make a movie without a gaffer. You don't need a fucking gaffer. He's like, I don't use a single light when I make a movie. I use natural light. I like working around the space that I'm in, not trying to work the space to fit my vision. I do the inverse. And he's like, but
This isn't so bureaucratic.
that too, but then he also said like he doesn't shit on anybody for using lights, for wanting to use lighting, for wanting to be more creative. He just says it's not a requirement.
I think it comes back to what we're talking about with spectacle, where people lose the fact that spectacle is only meaningful when you have
Something
story
behind
behind it. And
Yeah.
like, spectacle can sometimes be something that's not flashy. Some of the most powerful moments are happening in emptiness and silence, and like literally showing you someone like on the edge of darkness by just them standing in the dark. Like,
Or also, like, one of the most quoted and, like, redone scenes in a movie is just Robert De Niro looking in a mirror talking to himself for, like, a minute.
yeah, like
Are you talking to me?
those moments,
talking to me?
those
Like, that's-
moments can mean so much, and the spectacle can be big. Like, there are plenty of giant theatrical moments on stage or in film where you're like, that was really cool. But if you just have like hollow fight for the sake of saying, oh, look at this thing I can do, like, I'm not saying there's not a time and a place for that, and I totally respect visual effects artists, but like, I don't know, I feel like we should be asking more from what we watch, and like, those moments, it means so much more when there's something behind it.
You said
Although
my
I-
favorite thing ever. People should ask for more from their art. And
It's
should
almost like I
But I
spend
also-
a lot of time with you.
But I'd also argue that I think there is both room for like almost meaningless spectacle and those smaller, more intimate
I
moments.
totally agree. It's
I
just
think
it's
the
all
issue-
meaningless right
Yeah,
now.
I think it's less that everything's all. I don't.
Not
I think it's
all.
less
I haven't
that
said
all
the M
meaningless-
word all episode.
Meaningless. I think the issue is
Not
that
gonna.
the thing being pushed and the thing that's selling the most is the spectacle, so we are not given the opportunity to embrace the more small, intimate, vulnerable as
Yes.
easily. And if only studios and like theaters and film sets and all the, like, if only these places, like the small ones, just like had enough resources where like they didn't have to worry about being mass marketable, because we're seeing it just like trickle
Yeah.
into everything. Is like, we need to make money. How do we make money?
Because I'd be okay with more things that are like, I don't know, like you said, I feel like I understand wanting to turn your brain off, and I understand just looking, like, it is objectively really cool that we can do that. That we can.
Joker is hilarious.
Joker is hilarious.
That we can make entire worlds out of the color green. Like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
Who knows? I don't understand it, but it, like, that is objectively cool, and I'm not saying it's not, but like when the option when the option to actually like take in something else, and like I feel like there's a lot of fear of the vulnerable right now, especially in not
troubling times.
I'm not going to say those words.
I just
Notice how I didn't. Thank you.
God, I want to throw my head into a
But
I
I
don't know
didn't-
how crazy these past few months have
I
been.
don't even mean in like a troubling time sense of the words. I just mean I feel like people have a lot more trouble sitting with the discomfort of not getting that happy ending. Like, and to me, what's happening when I watch those movies that have the meaningless spectacle is like they also lack tension, because I know they're not gonna let it not work out. And like there's something about like I said, like once means so much to me because they do never end up getting together. Like there is something so beautiful about the hardships, because it is something we all go through. And what's the point of telling a story where everything, like, I don't know, there's a time and a place for everything to be okay in the end. I'm not saying it always has to be sad or always has to be bad or dark or whatever. Sometimes it is a funny ending, but like you should say something. And if you're not saying anything other than, oh, we're all good in the end, you know?
And I also... Oh, sorry, I'm interrupting
no.
you. I was also going to say, I think there's a way to say everything's good in the end in a new way.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of the movies I think recently that I think did that for me was Booksmart. Like, I think Booksmart
Great
has a
example.
happy ending that felt unique to me. Like,
Yeah.
And it's also... like
Because everyone
they had to
grows.
change. Yeah.
Everyone has
everyone
to learn
grows
something.
and they grow, they learn something. We are invested in the characters and
confront something really difficult about themselves.
yeah, and
their own
also in the
flaws.
end, everything isn't perfect. We realize that, you know, both of
It's
these
different.
girls have their relationship has changed, but their deep love for each other is what allows their friendship to continue even when they acknowledge that they have hurt each other.
You know,
Exactly.
you know what I think, and I have to admit this on the first public platform I've ever done it. I think one of the best things that I've seen merge spectacle and story in a very, very long time is the fucking League of Legends TV show.
I was about to bring it up.
Because no, the whole time you guys were talking about like wanting to turn your brain off, but also wanting to ask more from your art. I think Arcane does both
It's on my
in a
list.
single scene. Like they do a really good job of going like they give you that like dumb schlock that you showed up for to be like cool fucking fight scene, cool character design, like cool visuals set to music, stuff that is completely fucking meaningless, but then is immediately followed by those visuals turning into something that is more meaningful.
It's
also
Without-
good.
It's
Spoiling
almost
anything.
like people
Yeah.
want interesting stories that haven't been told before.
Yeah.
or
But
at
like
least
people
not told in
don't
a certain
obviously
way.
like the most interesting stories that we're gonna get is stuff that is new and stuff that is like I don't want to say like not done before, because everybody's always doing like an amalgamation of something that has come before it,
Yeah.
but like wanting new combinations of
Or
different
maybe-
To
ideas.
bring it back to what you
Yeah.
said, subverting your expectations of the space. And
Yes,
it doesn't necessarily have
exactly.
to be the space, but subverting your expectations of anything.
subverting
Yeah.
your expectation of genre, subverting your expectations of traditional
It's
character
why Barry
roles.
works so well. Barry
It's why
leads
Barry
you
works
into
so well.
believing it's going to be a comedy, and it takes a very different turn. And then there's moments where you think, okay, this is just going to be dark, and then something happens, and you're like, oh, we're
And
really
then-
just leaning into the absurdism.
There's also something to be said about telling stories that haven't had an opportunity to be told before. Like, from perspectives that we don't always see. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't always have to be a straight white man who's the lead and then his girlfriend. Like, you know, like, we can have engaging stories about women and people
Portrait
of
of
color.
a lady on fire.
Arcane,
Good
our main
fucking
character,
portrait-
is lesbian.
Although, okay, my only issue
And
with
she's-
Portrait of the Lady on Fire is it's another sad
Awesome.
lesbian period piece.
It is another sad lesbian
It's
period piece.
the best sad lesbian period piece. I'm
I
tired
think-
of sad lesbian period piece.
Arcane has a very well established gay relationship
That's why it's on my list.
that is not super overstated. I love it because they finally did it.
It's
They
just
finally
gay, they don't
Unremarkable
say
queer
gay, you know? Like,
story.
oh, you're
Yes!
gay.
Unremarkable queer
that is what
story.
Arcane is. It's fucking perfect. And at first it takes you a little bit to find out, like, figure out that the characters like each other, but then like all other fucking typical romantic stories, there are visual motifs. There are things that you can do subtly and with the image that
Can I
imply
also
romance
say
without you
She-Ra
having to
does this
explicitly
well.
go, they're gay lovers. Look, we're progressive because they're gay.
She-Ra
They just
does it
look,
really
she's
well.
gonna go come out to
She-Ra
her
does it
mom
so
now.
fucking well because She-Ra has a romance as the main focus that is queer, that is not about it being queer, and also in the build up to that romance establishes that in this world queer relationships are just a chill fucking thing that happens.
Arcane. Same
Yeah.
concept.
Everyone-
Also is really sorry.
Sorry, real
Go
quick.
ahead.
Yeah,
Everyone should read Bright Half-Life. It's another play I can send a PDF to you for.
send me all
Yes,
your
please
plays.
do.
It's another gay one.
Yeah, I'm gonna start compiling them. I'll read them over winter break. No, I will.
We're at an hour and a half. If you guys want to start winding it.
We should wind down because the SD card will almost be full.
Yes.
It's at 17 minutes.
Yeah. I do want to say that Arcane is actually really cool for me in particular because I played League of Legends for 5 years. And
You're a
It-
pro gamer.
I'm a pro gamer. I want
I'm an expert in the
I want to
field.
say this with all manner of serious. League of Legends is a game I really got into because there were a lot of cool characters and the game was really fun. But like, my personality, I guess, just doesn't mesh well with competitive gaming. I don't think many people's personalities do. I think that the current climate of competitive gaming
Is owned
makes
by a
for
very
really
small
horrible
niche.
life experiences and makes you really sad. And like, you know, my mental health was very awful for most of the time that I was playing League of Legends. I went to some dark places. Truly, like actually, it's not a joke.
Doing this with-
But,
League
like-
sent me down the darkest hole I've ever been.
But like, you know, something that I always found
Correlation,
captivating
not
about it
causation.
was the characters and the lore. And so like, you know, I quit League of Legends, but then I was like, oh, I miss this character because, you know, just like the odd things that they would say, but then also like, you know, the things that I knew about their backstory and like why I liked playing them as a character. And it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier about taking a piece of media that maybe doesn't work as well in one medium or like in one iteration of it, adapting it to a new thing. This has been like one of my favorite adaptations from a video game because the lore is actually kind of like almost completely divorced from the game itself. There was actually, so like in League of Legends, when it was originally like, you know, when it was first made like 10, 11 years ago, oh god, and like, you know, when the lore was being written initially, they kind of did a Mortal Kombat thing where like they needed to write in a reason for every character to be participating in this thing called the League of Legends, which is like this whole like
Interdimensional tournament
exactly.
fight thing where they're like
Thank
on
you for the
teams and
context.
competing and like yeah.
Exactly. But like, you know, there was a shift that happened like maybe 4 years ago where they were like, you know what, you know, Riot Games, you know, the writers are like, they were like, you know what, we want to do away with that. We find it really limiting. I find the art departments in Riot Games to be, I mean, I hope none of them are sexual predators.
They probably are.
Some of them
Based
are.
on some of their character designs.
Hopefully they don't steal breast milk.
Yeah, anyway,
Blizzard.
either way, I mean, I think you know, they always had like good artistic intent and good artistic eyes. So like it was really cool that they made that decision. But like then what happened is that like, you know, like why am I even playing this game anymore? Like I don't like, you know, like the reason why I care about the characters is not because of the game. And that's where like, you know, you have things like The Last of Us where like playing the game is important to understanding the story. But like with League of Legends, it's not. So like it was a really smart decision to adapt it into a show, not just for entertainment, not just for money, although it is for those things. But like, you know, this was like a genuinely like new way to, you know, tell the story of these characters, and it was important to do it because there was room to expand on it. And like, I think League of Legends works better as a series.
And
As a television show.
Yeah.
as someone who has not played League of Legends and knows none of the lore and has not watched Arcane, so completely and wholly unqualified, I will say, I think that there can be something really special when someone takes inspiration from a story and a plotline and a lore, but like they give themselves permission to not follow it to a T. They don't feel like they're trying to please their fans or like make sure like everything that happened canonically, and again, I don't know if this is what's happening in Arcane, but everything that happens canonically in the lore happens in the show. Like, you're like, I like these characters, I like the concept, I like the sort of ideas that you've given me, and I'm gonna take them and I'm gonna build a different world because this is my art. It's not my art. It's our collective art. But you know what I mean?
I think that there's a lot of elements that do get taken from the already written lore. I mean, the lore of League of Legends is kind of like a living document. I mean, they've been writing and rewriting it
like
for the past decade.
Like, the ability to expand is what's really...
I'm really glad that they've allowed themselves to do that.
Yeah.
Here's the big thing, though. We get the lore in both. You know, we get the backstory in both. The difference is, the difference is it's the game, you read the lore, and then you go, and the character is just a fucking vehicle for which you experience the entertainment of the video game.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the show takes the whole story and all that context, and they go, okay, let's put them in a setting where they have to interact with each other, and like on a character basis, not on like a game mechanic basis.
A part of it,
and so they get to like, you know, Vi in the game is like, you know, punchy, and I like that they still managed to carry that over to the show, but it's punchy, but now we know why she really likes punchy.
I mean, to be fair, like, you know, that stuff like is taken into consideration when they make a character. They do think about lore, but I think the thing is that like it doesn't matter in the game.
Yeah.
It's not like the material
informs the character, but it doesn't like dictate how the game is played.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think a part of it too is that playing the game as a character means you're inherently like you're playing as yourself. You are the character in that moment, and like you can get immersed into it to some extent, but you're aware that you are the one controlling what this person does. Like, you are controlling what this character on the screen does, and as you're not like seeing them as an extension of yourself, I guess. But I think the awareness of the fact that you are in control of what happens in this moment to that thing, like, it kind of, I don't want to say it takes you out of it, but like you're watching it from an entirely different perspective when you're not the one making the decisions.
It's true.
In the action. Yeah.
I think that you know, I mean, I'm just gonna talk about League of Legends and The Last of Us again because they're two games that I'm very familiar with. I mean, like, the thing is, like, with the, you know, the characterization of characters in League of Legends, it doesn't at all inform the way you play at all, because you're just thinking like, oh man, like, you know, the enemy jungler is probably like over there, like getting krugs, and like, you know, I gotta be mid for this team fight. Like,
I don't know
just discussing like, just like discussing strategy stuff, and like that's fine and that's valid. It's just a game I don't enjoy anymore, and like, you know, the lore is just divorced from the story. But like, with something like The Last of Us, you know, it is kind of in a way forced upon you. You do have to take Ellie through the level, but like, you know, like the game makes you care about it, so like it doesn't. It's almost like, you know, there's not like the level of abstraction that you have like from like controlling the character almost disappears because you actually do care about Ellie. Yeah. And you understand why. You know, it's like, you know, like you can also have theoretically like go against like what Joel, you know, would want to do like in theory, but like you're not gonna realistically, because the game is, you know, does a good job at like, you know, like giving you control, but like also putting you into the subjective headspace of Joel.
Yeah. To tie it all together, League of Legends is much like Mario Odyssey, and that is about the gameplay and not the characters, so therefore we need a Mario Odyssey TV show to fully flesh out why Cappy is a hat.
With Chris Pratt.
With Chris Pratt
who plays
Cappy and Mario.
Let's not put Chris Pratt in any more things.
You don't like Chris
Adam
Pratt,
Sandler should play a Cappy.
Yeah.
I do not like Chris Pratt, the homophobic man. Thank you for asking, though.
Yeah, I just wanted to check.
Yeah.
Thank you for.
What's the superhero name?
Star-Lord the homophobe. I said was bisexual to make Chris Pratt.
To wrap it all up, I think after all of this, at the end of the day,
already wrapped it all.
No. I think
Lucy said to wrap it all.
You can tie up my wrapping.
The thing I think we can take away from all of this is that yes, we're all surprised that the League of Legends show is good and the Last of Us show is gonna be bad.
They're making a Last of Us show?
Oh yeah, we can talk about that next episode. But yeah, we're gonna have to cap it because our SD cards are getting full. But this has been the Retrogrades
Can
Talking
I ask
Show.
one final question? am I remembering correctly? Is The Last of Us gay?
The second one is.
Hell yeah.
The
First one's a little
DLC of
gay.
The first one is gay.
It's a little gay, but
I've only seen people play the second one,
yeah,
so that's the only one I did.
it is queer stamped.
Oh, this shit gay as fuck.
Wait, this was you're
That's
telling
so
me this
gay.
was coded
That's
by
so
a queer?
This is code by birth.
I am.
This was coded by a queer?
Don't make.
Coded it.
I swear to God, don't make me peek this mic. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Tara and Lucy, for coming on.
Thank you
Hopefully,
for
we'll
having
have
us.
have you guys back on again.
Welcome
I
to the
think
fourth
we'll
wave of feminism.
Yep.
Yes.
This is it.
This is
Four
it.
balls, four
It
boobs.
started
I'll
right
reiterate
here.
it. This is what you've been fighting for, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that I got to tell you
I'm
that.
glad that I got to tell you.
I'm glad that I could be a vehicle for your own self-actualization.
I'm glad that
This
I got
is-
to use this to tell everybody that La La Land sucks. It doesn't.
It's not for voting rights, not for abortion.
No, I wanted to be able to get on the internet and tell everybody that La La Land sucks and I hate
I
it.
want to get on the internet and tell everyone to go watch the PBS recording of Indecent. If
Yeah.
there's anything you take away from this,
Yeah,
please.
yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
Go see more theater.
Go see more theater.
And
I
not
wanna go
on
see more
Broadway.
theater.
Go see something fringe and cool. Theaters need it. Those theaters need it more now.
Yeah,
They don't
we
got no
really
money.
do. We're struggling.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And if someone makes you believe that it's raining on stage, let me know.
Thank you and good night.
Let's do like a group fist bump.
Okay.
together.
One last fist bump.
How do we angle this? Do we have to be in the
Alright,
mics?
alright.
not participating because they're.
I'll do the group fist
Because I tried to end the show 3 goddamn times.
We're ending it with a group fist bump. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Dylan.
Ooh, fist bump.